All right, Steve, you seem to be there.
I'm here.
All right, now I'm hearing you. And Chad. For some reason, Chad is muted.
Yeah, when I joined, it said listen only mode, but for some reason it's not.
All right, Chad, I'm sending you an audio pin. What you do with it, I absolutely have no idea. So you try that. It's hashtag 45 hashtag.
Yeah, I opted to use the phone instead of computer mic. Sometimes computer mics tend to, or us old artillery guys can't hear worth a crap.
All right, Chad. Chad. Your phone is not coming up here, Chad. Oh, there we go. Wait a second. Your microphone just came on. No, that's mine. Okay. And Steve, are you seeing my screen?
Yep, I see your screen.
All right. Chad. Says your audio pin was not entered. Whoop, there you go, Chad. It says you can talk to me, Chad.
I hear you, Jim. I don't see your Chad.
All right, I got a microphone for Chad showing up here. Chad, I made Chad a member of the staff, which sometimes makes it easier to talk to him.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be the case. Oops, you just muted yourself, Chad, if you're hearing me. And I just unmuted you.
Is that better?
There we go. Now we got you.
All right.
And Steve, roll call.
Okay, I'm here.
All right.
I can hear you.
And let's see. I wanted to do one more thing before we get everything going here. And that was all right. Okay, that. So what I have up on the screen are, on the left-hand side, the mobile app, and on the right-hand side, the web app.
Okay.
The web app is the same as the SpotOnResponse mobile app status map. In addition to the status map, then there are two additional components on the mobile app, one of which is Spot Report, and the other one is My IOI, which is really all about plans. So we'll take a look at each one of them as we move along. But wanted to give you this dual look here so that we get a good perspective. And one of the things that you first see as soon as you come in here is the fact that whenever there are people who are logged in, you can see them. So here's me on this app right there, and then here's another little person over there that is Ron Crenshaw. And this is where the companies can know where their employees are. The watch center can know where the companies and their employees are, so that you can then target the messaging to employees who are in this area. If we have a tornado warning through Oakland here, then that tornado warning is going to go to those who have set their area of interest of being right around Oakland by virtue of them being there. And also we'll take a look at it in a little bit, how you set how much you care about. As a mobile app, the whole idea is that you're out in the field. You care about things that are near you. So I can, well, here I have all of San Francisco. If this is me and I am functioning as a incident commander for the northeast corner of San Francisco, I don't care what's going on in Oakland. So I can come into my profile, say, you know what, I don't want 50 miles there. I want 3 miles. Submit that. And you're going to see as we come back here that everything has disappeared. All I have in my list are things that are within 3 miles of here, and all that I'm seeing on my map are the things that are in 3 miles. A couple of other functional features to take a look at. First one is the little globe over there. That sets my map to that area of interest. So this is now everything that's happening within that 3 mile area. The 2 arrows refresh, go back to the database and say anything new. Now, there's an automatic refresh that you set over here in your profile, and we'll see that I am doing this map refresh at every 30 seconds. So I will not be more than 30 seconds out of touch with anything that is happening on SpotOnResponse.
Right.
So that's the essence of the area on the map, where I get my information, and how frequently I'm updating that. There are 2 different components, the mapping that we've just taken a look at, and then the list. If I see something here, there's a furry services building that I care about, I click on it, and I get a look at the details of that furry services incident, which I now see that it's a transportation incident. Somebody has entered some information here. As at this location, this was done by Chris Lee of the Earthquake Engineering Research Institute. And most importantly, I get directions to it. So again, if I'm a person down here with responsibilities, and I say maybe that responsibility includes the furry services building, I'm here. There are my directions on how to get to the furry services building. In the same way, if I'm sitting here and I say, gee, what's nearby me? I click on this little cluster here. Actually, click on the cluster, not the person. And I'm going to come in and see 2 items there that are part of that cluster. Want to know what they are? Well, click on it, and I get the pop-up. And this is a spot report on a Chinatown closed building. Have some updates associated with that. So let's take a look. I want to learn more about this closed building. So I can go and I can go to the details and directions. Click on that. And again, here are my directions on how to get there. And I see a couple of things. Down here, I've had some additional observations that have been made. So I can come over here and take a look at what those observations are. In fact, this one tells me that I have a field photo. And over on the right-hand side in the bottom, I have this little thing that'll have icons of a number of different types. In this case, it's going to be a picture. There's my picture of what's happening in Chinatown right now. Mm-hmm. So the essence of what we have in SpotOnResponse are a series of items of interest. They might be an incident. They might be a parade. We call them IOI, or items of interest.
Right.
They're indicated by different icons. So this one happens to be a liquefaction icon. Here's a structural damage icon there. Over here, this is some other kind of thing. That's a, I forget what that icon is. Those icons have been selected by the user community. So all have a certain commonality in what they understand.
Right.
So the idea is it's items of interest that I can see spatially on the map. I can learn more about them in getting information about this Mount Parnassus Medical Center right there. And I can also have this textual listing that is viewed in two different ways. One, the D over here shows that these are all by distance. This one's 0 feet, this one's 316 feet, this one 528 feet, 1.9 miles. Click on the D to switch the sorting to alphabetical. So I've got the Bay Bridge, the Ferry Services, the M's and the P's and the S's and all of that. So that's how I look at my text listing of information. And I have my map listing of the information as well. So that's the viewing of what's going on there. Stop there for any questions, comments, thoughts?
Now this stuff that we're viewing, all of these events that we're viewing, let's say that I am an employee and I live over in Outer Sunset, and something happens that affects me, whether it be a weather event, something like that. How can I filter, or as the employer, I can push out a message or an event, correct?
Yes.
All right. When I push that out, and all of my employees have those flags so that they see the events that I'm pushing out, but can I concatenate, or can I filter out the events that are going on so that, instead of seeing 50, 60, 70 different events that may be happening, I've got it pared down to 4 or 5, which are all events critical to the company.
Yep, and I'll just do the mobile app side. I'll do that over here. We've got the layers here, and this is how I control what shows up. I've got my filters, and if I come in here to edit, I can create a bunch of filters, and these are filters either of things that I want to see or things that I don't want to see.
Okay.
So let's, oops, I need to put some words in there first, don't I? All right, so what I'm going to do is come in here and let's look for bridges. That's going to be my thing.
Okay. And it could be bridges, or it could be company XYZ.
Yep. Let's do bridge now.
Okay.
And what I'm doing is creating, close that up, have created only things that have reference to the word bridge in them. Happen to be a fair amount of them in San Francisco, but we've now filtered that out. Now, if I want to then say, well, let's see what data we have on here. There's bridge section, Golden Gate Bridge. Let's say that I am, do I have anything that would sound like a company? Sure. I now say, yes, that's good, but my company is Hayward. So I only want to see bridges that are affecting my company, which is now named Hayward.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have, I've now limited that down to, did I do that? Oh, these are bridges and Hayward. So let's get rid of the bridge one there and just look for things that are Hayward. Okay, there we go. There's my company, Hayward.
Right.
So you can do that set of filters. You can combine them, and I can look at bridges and Hayward, or bridges that only, or only bridges or only Hayward, to be able to pull that information up. So that filters is the way you do that, and you build your filters and keep them. I erased that one.
So if I am, say I'm Bob's company. Let's use Bob's company as our default company here. Bob's company has a bunch of employees that are scattered out in this area. And can I, as Bob's company, well, what I'm going to want to do, as I walk through this, I'm going to want to, every alert that I send out, I'm going to want to title that in some way, form, or fashion Bob's company, so that it makes it easier for my employees to, if they have a filter that's set up for Bob's, then every time an alert comes out that is a Bob's alert, they're going to catch that alert. Correct?
Right. Yep.
Okay. So essentially all I have to do is set up a discrete filter set that's set up for Bob's company for my employees. And okay, here it is. Here's what you will get from us. But then also, if you want to, you can go into the layers and you can look at all of the other alerts that are coming in. It's just a matter of how granular you want to see what's going on. Correct?
Exactly right. And when they go home at night and under that filter it says Bob's company, and the next morning they wake up, if the filter's on, all they see are Bob's companies. They would then have to go in and say, let's turn the filter off in order to see everything else. So you can set it up so that the default each time they use it is for just their company.
Okay, cool. Now, as I'm now an employee of Bob's company, and all of this is going on, and I look over, and like I say, I live out here in Outer Sunset, and let me get over there, and I get out here, and just right there off, you know, the intersection of Sunset Boulevard and you know, 16th or something, I have got a ground sewer leak that's affecting my neighborhood. So it's kind of, you know, got utilities in there shutting it down. Can I go in and build an alert to that, or generate an event that then that event gets pushed back to the watch center at Bob's company, that now I can look at that as Bob's company and say, oh, is this an event that I want to push out to all of the employees, or is this something isolated that I don't need to? I mean, what's the interaction between the employees and the company watch center? If I'm making any sense.
Yeah, so let's do one of these. Let me Just going to move myself over here so we can see it.
Yeah.
So that'll be me over there. And what we're going to do is there's a sewer leak. Is that what you wanted to have?
Yeah, yeah.
So we've got an incident utility. I'm going to dub it that. And we've got, and this is Bob saying this to all his employees?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would do is I'd start out with some standard format that would be like Bob alert, something like that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to describe this as this is a smelly affair. Can put other information in here and 5 hours to repair. It already gives me the address, latitude, longitude, and all that. And I can now save those changes, and let's just do that for right now.
Okay.
So what I've got now, and you should see this show up in a few seconds on your system if you're out here looking at me, is I've got...
Yeah, I'm in fact...
Yep, there you are.
I'm right there, so...
Yep, I see you. So we now have, I'll tell you what, I'm going to move myself away from there now. So again, we can see things a little bit better. So I just walked down the block. Smells. I don't want to be there. So
right.
What I have here is Bob's alert sewer leak.
Uh-huh.
So if my filter is is that Bob or Bob's? Oh, there it is, Bob alert.
Bob alert.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that. I'm now going to create a Bob alert. There, if I spell it right, as my filter. Select that, and I got one thing. So if I'm an employee, I come in and my default is Bob alert. I'm going to see nothing at all except for the Bob alert. Over here, this guy, we need to tell him to add Bob alert to his
and I need to add Bob alert to myself, correct?
Yep, that's right. Each of those is local. Oh, here you can see this guy is looking for Bob alert and other stuff. So let's get rid of the bridge. Let's get rid of Hayward and tell him you're not allowed to be caring about other things. You need to care about Bob.
Right.
All right, so let's say that I'm over here. Yeah, let's get it a little bit complicated, just to sort of keep things going.
Okay.
I've now have my Bob alert, and I've come over somewhere nearby my Bob alert, and this is a smelly thing, and I actually want to make an observation. So I'm going to say, here is a picture of the smelly thing. And what I'm going to do is a couple of choices down here that you see, this use IOI location or use my current device location. Since I'm not near there, I'll say yes, we want to do it around there. And I'm going to choose the camera, and I'm going to click on the camera, and it's going to come out here and let's make it this thing and submit that. So that's been submitted now.
And now on my side, if I do an update, I should get a observations should show up, correct?
Yep. I'll come over here on my side also, and you see down here, so now it says one observation, one with media.
Yep. And
I've got the observation. Here's the picture of the smelly thing, and then there is the picture. So in that case where I selected to make the location where the IOI is because over here on the phone, I'm over here in Oakland. So I really wouldn't have a picture there. So that's sort of just an artificial way to say, gee, I took this picture and I'm now driving my car and I'm 2 miles away by the time I move my finger around to do it, but it really was back there. So that's what the use IOI location is. If people were standing around the block and were all looking at the event, they would be taking it on their phones, and we would end up with a bunch of these little, you can't see it there, but little blue U's that are updates that would show all around the block and get a bunch of different pictures from each different angle.
okay.
So let me go back and take a look at one other thing here. Let's get rid of my Bob alert. Turn those filters off.
Okay. Now, if I did this correctly, I just added a resource. I just asked for a sewer pump truck.
Yep, and I've got 2 observations here, one with media. And I've got a resource now. And I see that you have a sewer leak and you have requested a pump truck, and that now is percolating through the system.
Okay. All right,
good. So let's go back over here. Let me turn off my filter there.
Okay.
Also, so we're looking at the same thing. And what I want to do now is just give you a little bit of a glimpse at some of the other things that can be associated with any of these items of interest. And this, I believe, yes, that's the Parnassus Medical Center.
Okay.
And we'll come in here and look at the details of this, and we see we've got 1 observation, 2 plans, and 1 GIS. The observation is a picture of Parnassus. We've seen those things before. Plans, I have 2 different ones. One a hospital emergency checklist, and the other the floor plan for it. So let's look at the hospital emergency checklist. And we're going to see what the hospital is doing right now, so that, again, in theory, we're all reading off that same sheet of music. And if they were, in fact, updating this checklist, it would be updated and everybody else would see the update information. And the second thing is this floor plan over here. So if we're going to have to make an entry in there, I now have an understanding of what this was just any floor plan, but some of the schools do 3, 4, 5 school floor levels. And this gives me a picture of what this floor plan is all about. I can zoom in on it and see any of the detail that I want to see. So those things, when you start building a piece of infrastructure, you associate all of your plans with the infrastructure. And one of these times we'll jump over to the schools, because you don't need to have your whole great big plan there. If this were my campus and I had 4 buildings on it, I would have a plan for each one of the buildings perhaps. I've got an athletic field out here. Well, I've got an athletic field medical response plan. So basically it's taking that great big 3-ring binder that you've got and breaking it geographically so that I say, gee, here's a fire over here. I wonder whether I had, that's not a good example. This is my heating plant. So do I have a plan for my heating plant? Well, don't know, but if I did, it would show up there. And if I take, all right, there's my field picture. If you can't see the blue U is very clearly there, but you got the blue U. So if this said, well, that's that's the field picture. If this said emergency plan, I could access the emergency plan right from there. Let's see. Parnassus. Yeah. So we've added information off of the big green plus. We've added updates to those items of interest to provide additional details for it. You did one on the resources. We looked at the ones on the plan. I've added observations. So that's the way from SpotOn the data gets in. From Exchange Core, there's this other whole set of data that's flying in here that is, in part things coming from the Watch Center and from other locations as well. Because if a company says, hey, here's Bob's alert, you're going to want to know that there's a Bob's alert and be able to process that and perhaps share it to other people who are in the area, because Bob knows there's a sewer link, so Joe's company ought to know too.
That's right, exactly. So as we bring that data in from those alerts into the Watch Center, then we can look at those and say, all right, well, this alert affects these employees of Bob's company, et cetera, or Joe's company, or whoever, correct? That's
right. Now, that's a piece that we don't have done in a very sophisticated way. As a matter of fact, I won't even bother showing it. There's in the background, and as part of the administrative tools, there's, what the hell, I'll show it, this profile report. This shows all the people and who have, and their last time of login. There you are. It's a couple minute or so ago, the last time you did something. So whenever somebody does something, it keeps track of the record here. And over here is the latitude, where did it go? Oh, back over here. Is the latitude and longitude where that is taking place. And we're all artificially located in California right now. But so that's the latitude and longitude. So it's a matter of using that data and deciding how we want to do it to be able to then say, okay, who are the people that are in this area, whether it's drawing a box or drawing a circle or whatever. Who are the people in this area?
Right.
They're the ones that we need to be concerned about. But that's not, because it's really flipped the other way around. So you don't have to be sitting there saying, is somebody there? Is somebody there?
Right.
This Bob's alert went out, and I'm here, so I know it happened because it happened within 3 miles of me. So you're going to set a series of thresholds that say, I got a sewer leak, nobody over here in Oakland is going to care about it. So that's really only 3 miles that anybody cares about. So it's me sitting here looking 3 miles around me for anything that might happen. And that's really what drives it. It's me as a viewer rather than you as having to figure out who's there and push the information out to them.
Exactly. Now, as I sat here, let's switch over a second, and I'm now at the watch center. And I want to, I'm looking at this area for events. And I want to look at all of the employees of all of the companies that are in this area. And so I've got a dot or an icon or whatever that just shows me a map of all of these employees. Do I have, or am I going to be able to have a way where I can sit there and say, all right, well, you know what, I only want to look at Bob's employees. I only look at Joe's employees at the moment. How is this event affecting the aggregate group? Then also on a more granular level, how is it affecting Joe's company? How is it affecting Bob's company? And, and I'm afraid the only way we're going to actually be able to do that is just by, like you say, by perimeter. These employees are within X distance of this event, so there is, a high relative chance of them being affected by it if it's a storm event. But, like you say, if it's a small event like a sewerage event, then the only thing that may affect them is if they live actually in that neighborhood or if they have to drive that route to get to work or to or from. So I guess I'm kind of, just thinking out loud here, but at the watch center level, being able to look at this big picture and see all of these employees, but then also, being able to say, all right, this event needs to go out to this subset of that group because of their proximity to the event. And, I can see it being, extremely useful if we got people that are traveling. Because then, it doesn't matter, what their home location is. What matters is where they're at and what events may affect them. Say, for example, we've got an active shooter going on in, San Francisco International Airport, and Nancy is in the airport. That's an alert she's going to want to get no matter, where she lives. We want to push that alert to her based on her location.
Right, and that's why when you're using the mobile device, it's always related to GPS. Over here on this one, we can sort of do exercises and manually move around.
Right, yeah.
The mobile device is the GPS. That's where they are. If she's driving, if she's in a hotel or back at home, that's always going to say, she's here. And you're going to say, we've got a problem here. And she and you are going to be connected by the fact that she cares about things that are 3 miles around each other.
Right. And even if I send out, I've got this alert, even if Nancy is there, there may be 2 or 3 other people from other associated companies that are there too that would receive the same alert based on the same criteria, correct? They're within a certain proximity to the event. And, now one question about this comes back to this, this big privacy issue. How many of these people, we're going to be able to do it as long as they keep, the location services on their phone turned on. But how many people are going to want the company knowing where they're at 24/7? And is there a way that we can, assuage those fears of, Big Brother looking at them, saying, hey, we're only going to ping you, or we only need to know that data if something is going on. I don't know. It's just, it's an age-old question of, if you're not letting us know where you're at, we can't warn you of anything. But is there any way that we can push an alert to you that goes out that says, I just need to know your location right now to see if you're close to this event? I don't know how to answer that one.
Yeah. They have to be working in the app to learn something.
Yeah.
We have talked about, and there are too many companies out there that actually do the text-based alerts and things like that. I mean, you've come across 100 of them, probably came to you at SAIC and said, would you like to do this? So we haven't gotten into that business. So I think that's one that we ought to maybe look at. More likely, it's paying the X number of dollars someday down the line when this is all really making money to buy somebody else's text alert system, where you end up with everybody who's enrolled and they can get a text alert saying, turn on SpotOnResponse. So we'll keep that in mind, but certainly way down the list of priorities, just because there's nothing unique at all about it.
Right. Yeah, and it's just like, if I'm worried about my my own personal safety, I'm going to keep the system turned on, so that I can be pinged if something is happening close to me. If my privacy issues are issues that I want to deal with, then I am taking the risk of not hearing about something that may be close to me. That's basically what it's going to come down to.
I believe so. And there's one middle ground, though, because when Bob says, you know what, I want everybody to know something, I don't care where they are, he makes what we call an announcement. And that announcement says there will be a company picnic tomorrow at noon. And this is just an information one. You could make it a warning or an alert or something about recovery, but in this case it's just going to be an information one. And I want it to be valid until tomorrow at noon. So I can come in here and set my calendar, and set my time. That says after that it doesn't matter. And I'm going to save that. So now that's going to percolate through the system. Again, it's not a text alert that's going to wake everybody up. What it is, it's going to percolate through the system, and the next minute or so, it's going to pop up on your screen and on my screen and over here on the mobile app. So it doesn't matter where I am.
On my mobile app, I should get that alert as well, right?
Yep, that's right. So the idea behind it is, all right, we built the whole thing to be location-based, but sometimes you don't want location-based. So this allows me to send the information out and have it percolate through, and every company employee is going to get that, no matter where they are. They still need to be on the app, and if they don't get on the app, they hear from somebody else that, gee, there's something happening, and they get on the app before noon tomorrow when that information expires, they'll get everything that has been published out there, so they can get caught up. But it's still part there. We go. There's mine.
Yeah, I got mine just a couple seconds ago. And I guess, if we're running something through the Watch Center, we get, we've got an active shooter at LAX. That is something that, if we push that globally to everybody as a piece of information, that doesn't hurt. you know, if we look at it and say, this is something we need to push out, we don't know where everybody's at, but this is something we need to push, that's not a bad thing.
Yep. So you will do this. You will have also created an item of interest at the LA airport that says, here's where my active shooter is. So that instruction would say, hey, we got an active shooter. Go to the item of interest at the LA airport. And that's where people will be adding updates. So you get an employee who takes a picture and says, gee, I'm just down the block and I see a lot of police cars. And somebody else says, I'm inside, help. You know,
there you go.
So it's that combination of these items of interest, which can be a alert, it can be an incident, it can be information in general, and the announcement that says, hey, everybody, take a look at this. And the place where there's some potential that we would get to, and it's really going to depend on that stakeholder group, would be that when I create that announcement, it doesn't just go inside SpotOnResponse. It would be sent as an email to everyone to at least get it outside the system. Text messages, although everybody says, oh, I'll send you a text message, they're enormously unreliable. The email, you have an almost guaranteed case of a confirmed delivery within some period of time. It might be seconds, it might be a couple of minutes. Text message, you have no idea whether it arrived or not.
Right.
So we tend to think of our alerting as going to be emails.
Okay. Now, one question about this is as we're doing this, you know, for our current task of adapting SpotOn to fit this corporate environment, as I was looking at, you know, going through the events and the observations and setting up an event and everything, can we dumb down the list of things? You know, for example, you know, the average employee is not going to, you know, when he pulls up a list of, well, what kind of an event is this?
This is, no, wait, I took you to the wrong place.
You know, reduce that group down to 6 or 7 choices.
Yep.
Okay. You know, it's like this is a office closing event, or you know, we want to leave in the weather and the fire and, you know, the earthquake events, but to me it seems like we'd want to just, you know, make that a shorter list of stuff that is just pertinent to that company. So okay, and as an administrator you can put that together, right? Okay.
For that one, it's now something we have to do behind the scenes. That screen that I showed you where there's yeses and noes, edit them and all that, is something that we'll be working on.
Okay. All right. On this, as we start putting this together and start testing it for our corporate side, are we going to have kind of a separate sandbox to test this in?
There's already created, and somewhere along the line I sent you the user to it. There's a separate DIB ISAC instance.
Okay.
And you can use that to start building your demos. And really, I think that's the way I learned an awful lot about this each time when I develop a new client, like the school people. I sat down and said, all right, I'm going to build a school emergency plan. And then I'm going to do the things that the school people do. I'm going to have a football game, and I'm going to do a fire drill, and I'm going to have buses riding. And I just went right through all the things that happen around the school and said, what am I going to use this system for? So that's
okay. Now,
in doing that, I built a demo. Yeah.
I've been actually doing some of that over in Huntsville right now, just taking some of our emergency response calls that are coming out from 911 and actually logging them into the system. But how, what is going to be our methodology for uploading an employee list? Because, you know, unfortunately, we're going to have to look at people in two different ways. We're going to have to look at them with their home address, you know, but then also that mobile device is going to give a secondary location for that person if they're on travel. But, you know, if we're worried about tornadoes, weather events, and everything, we're also concerned about where they live. What's it going to do? So how can I, is there something other than, well, I guess, you know, we can do it through an Excel spreadsheet or a CVS or whatever, but how are we going to input those employees, or can we input them in as a batch?
We can batch them in, and not that. What do I want to do here? Yes, here we go. This is completely defined by you. What you want to know about each employee. I happen to have broken this one into assets and personnel. So let me just go over here and let me pull this one up just so that you can see a different one. And this one is going to be so we got all that, and let me see.
Right.
No, I became the wrong person there. Let me go back and do that again. Okay, so if I come over here and I come into the admin tool, the profile administration, I can build this profile for each individual person who logs in. You can see this is from the this is for the California Earthquake Clearinghouse. So they have experience, and professional license, and license numbers, and motorcycle license, and you can build all these different tabs. So if I go back here to me, no, here we go. This might show it. Nope, rats! I didn't fill all that out. There's one that has a little bit more data. Let me see what I can do. You get the idea. The list of all the information, and
so this is going to be,
and yeah, this might be another way to do it. Yes.
This is going to provide to be very interesting, you know, because at the watch center level, I don't really want to know that much about these people. All we want to know is the company association and ID number and the lap mall. At the company level, they're going to want to have a more verbose level of information, address, emergency contact, all of that stuff. Are we going to be able to do that? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like at the watch level we're administrating the whole thing, but yet there's some PII that we don't want to know about the individual employees. But yet the company, on their, in their watch center or, in their side of the application are going to want to have all of that employee information in it.
Yeah, I think employee information is in a different system. It is PII,
Okay.
and what you're going to do here is build a profile for each individual that allows you to sit there and say, great, this is the stuff I know about them, and you know what there is in here? Nothing that I care about. If somebody says I don't want home addresses in there, well, we can't do anything for you guys because we're not going to protect that. We absolutely can't get into the business of protecting that.
That's right. I agree 100%. Okay, so as I build up my demo sandbox here, what format or what type of file do I need to put together to employees? We're going to, for my sandbox test, I'm going to use some of the rescue squad employees. I've got about 50 people that I have lat longs for their home address. Do you need that as an Excel file with lat longs, or how do we need to? I guess what type of process are we going to put together to bulk load that data for these companies? To me, it seems
that's
right to do it, but
yeah, two different questions there. What do we have to do now? It's a special process, and it requires getting programming time to do that. So for a demo, you want to have 10 people. You're going to have to take a couple minutes for each one and just type them in there. When we start getting in real production, then we'll either spend the programming time to get it in, or we will spend the programming time to write a program that allows us to upload that information. But right now, there's not these people I enter, so that's just sort of where you have to tough it out at the beginning and get spend half an hour stuffing in a few people.
Okay. Well, then that's what I'll do is I will build up about 10, 15 generic employees.
Yep, that's a good idea. And all right, let's go and see what we have here. Probably nobody but me. Yep, I'm the only one who's done that. So let's come in here and do this. User administration. Oh, I haven't set you up yet.
Okay.
All right. Then let me take a quick look here, and I'll show you. I'll give you a new profile, or a new, yes, what am I calling it? Give you a new project code. That's the word I'm groping for. And you can go in and enter yourself. All right, DIB ISAC, there we go. I'll email this to you.
Okay.
You know how the project codes are. Admin is read, write, delete all.
Mm-hmm.
Operator is read, write, delete your own. And then this is just read, write.
Read. Right. Okay.
Yeah, read, write. I think we are going to add just a read one. Right now, if you look at, go to the saberspace.org. I'll just write that down.
Mm-hmm.
And then the status map. You'll see that that pops up, and that has a read-only. And you don't read-only with no login. So that's sort of like having up on your website, if we wanted to publish out for anybody to know what's going on, they don't need to have a login. They can just come in and see. So don't know whether we'll ever want to get that public, but it's a good way to advertise. So you go in and you'll be an admin, but go in and create an administrative rights with this. Add your username and password, and again, the username is what gets you into the project. So you already have one username, but I think we made that something funny to get you into the test site. This one, you want to call it, ISAC chat or whatever you want to do with it. But that'll be the one that gets you into this permanent operational site. Right now, think of it as one. You build a whole bunch of demo stuff in there, and we want to create a second operational site for the customers. We can do that as things move along. But this is the one to build your demo, and we'll think of it as demo training site, and then eventually we'll get a full production version.
Okay, and the and the URL is still.
Yep, still the same one.
Yeah.
And let me show you this. If you're in the mobile app, and I try to do all my work in the mobile app, just mostly because it's good test for us.
Yeah.
You come up here to the little gear there and click on it. And if you're in the mobile app, you have to change your authentication from the one that you have now to the one that you're about to create. So this is where it ends up getting changed. So this would be the training and demo site, whatever it is, your username and password, and then log in, and that shifts you to the other location. Some people think that, like the regular browser version, that I can go in here and change, just exit out of here and change my username and password in the status map, but then I get out of sync because that's different than the mobile app.
Okay.
So for building the demo, you're certainly going to be easiest on the regular computer. So I would set everything up on the regular computer, build your demo stuff, but then when you want to see that data, you have to come in here and shift out of this one that says GGEX up there and into the one that says, that will say DIB ISAC, I believe it says. Yes. It says DIB ISAC up there, and that's what where you want to build your training.
Okay, so if I've got this right, if I want to go into I need to
you need to
log out.
Yep. You need to log out, come back to this
and
screen,
log in.
and go
Log
to,
in as.
well, no, you want to come over here and register first.
Okay. Hold on a second. I'm on, just sitting on my laptop right now. I am not on the...
Yep. All right, so we're over here on the right-hand side. So
All right,
if
so
you
I click to register.
Yep, click to register. And this is where you're going to put whatever the codes I just
70.
sent you are. Admin DIB ISAC, I think it was.
Code. Oh, I'll give it that code.
Yep. And then I'm going to put
You got DIB ISAC, what is it?
yes. I'm sorry, say it again.
Oh, okay, you're just putting it, all right. Never mind.
I'm just making up a new user here, so we have a couple more. All right, so I've got me there, and over here I've got line quote.
All right, now let me see if I did this right. Woohoo!
Yeah,
All right.
you in?
I am in.
Well, let me, I'm going to change my profile to 2,000 miles so I can see you. There you are.
Yeah, I am down there.
All right. So now, some things you want to do. You want to go into the admin tool. And over here under profile administration, you want to decide what you want to know about your employee. So you add the first tab, and it may be, well, let's see, what kind of information do you want to know? Again, we don't want to keep their records, but you want to know some...
emergency phone number.
Well, so emergency is going to be our tab.
Oh, okay.
And then I add the fields under that, which will be a choice of a text field or select option. So let's do text.
Right.
And then the field name is going to be phone number. let's call it emergency.
Right.
Phone number, and then click the check. And then a second one maybe.
Office location.
Okay, so that will be a text also. So I click the check. Office location, check that. So now I've got two of them.
And supervisor.
All right.
And let's start with those three. So
That'll be checked.
Supervisor, and then we would need a. Well, you know what though? We probably also need an email for both of those.
All right.
An email for the person and an email and phone number for supervisor.
All right. Text. Got that. My email.
And supervisor email.
Make that text. Yes. So that'll give us an idea of
yeah, right there.
what you want to have. And now if you go back into your profile, it's got the tab that's called emergency, and you click on that, and that's where you would fill out all of your information. Cool. And everybody who you then register will have that same information, or will have information to add there. And actually, let
there
me
you go.
Which one is me? Yeah, and when you have all those people out there and you click on them, they get to see in the pop-up all that information you added. So again, that's, you don't want to put too much in because other people can see it.
Right.
You want to put in what's useful for every other employee to be able to see about each other.
Yeah, and you know, we found out with SAIC that people were very protective about even other employees seeing their stuff. So.
Yep, and what good is it? You know, I'm here running an emergency. Do I need to know the guy's mother's maiden name? Nah.
Yeah, exactly.
Less is more in this case, without question.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, as long as we're on here, let's do one more set of things here. And I'm going to come back here to, what were we looking at here? This is GGEX, okay. So I'm going to come back here to that test test drive data. So now we have both of these. This is me on GGEX, and over here this is this guy Ron, who we keep talking about. And yeah. I'm over here. Yes, that's me. Okay. Now, this is going to be a little bit difficult to demonstrate. So what I'm going to do is come over here and set my location. Now, I can leave my location there. I need to, because I'm going to do something over here on the device, and the device only knows where it is. You can't play around and do these fake locations or anything. So I'm going to set this for 3,000 miles. So now we will see the whole United States. And I am going to come over here and come, no, I won't do that. This one, yeah, this is the one I'm doing here. So I went over here and did this set location, which I don't actually want to do on the mobile app. So I'm going to turn my GPS back on. And I'm over here in Bethesda. And now I want to give you a quick look at, I'm an employee, I'm out in the field. I see something happen. So like we were talking about that Mount Parnassus where we added, added video stuff, or added the mapping thing. Yeah, whatever it was, pictures. Now I'm out here, I want to make a spot report. And what this is going to do is create one of these items of interest. Spot report, boom. Information is all filled out already. I can just simply say, hey, this is a spot report from me, and I have no more time to do than just submit this thing right now. Or I can edit it a little bit. I can say Parnassus Med Center Fire spot report by me. I can call it an incident, or I can call it an alert, or I can call it other, which we'll just do an incident right now. I have a severity is going to be significant.
Significant, okay.
And I'm now going to submit that.
Okay.
And in a second, we're going to see it pop up over here, because this is oh, these are alphabetical, not distance. So let me go back to my distance. Here's my Bob Sewer alert. And somewhere over here, I should end up with, I am in the same place here, aren't I? GGX. Yes. All right, so my spot report should show up in a minute. There's a second piece to this that I wanted you to focus on, and that is that we have these as a report, a watch, a problem, and an emergency. You see they changed their titles up here.
Right.
We also had the severity down here of small, medium, whatever. And these were the ones that you gave me, I think, a while back.
Yeah.
You said at one point that you thought we should be able, people should be able to make this kind of report, and I think you had just sort of a general report, an infrastructure, I don't remember what the other ones were, but you gave me 4 items.
Right.
So, as types of field reports that you would want to see. So think about that, because I don't love these.
I think what we wanted was the general report, a weather report, an infrastructure report, and a civil report.
Okay. So think about whether that's where we put these, because that's a nice, easy change, and it, again, is really quick. If this is weather, I can say, I'm sending in a weather report here, click, and more news to follow later. And everybody gets it very, very quickly.
On that, Jim, would it be, if I click weather, if it come down and we of course we can't call out all the different type of weather events, but we've got the major. We've got severe storm, severe storm, tornado, flooding, or hurricane. Could we make it so that the person could just, there's a pull-down menu where it's like, boom, you've got those, you can add something different, but right off the bat, I can pull down, it's a weather, what is it? Is it a tornado? Is it a hurricane? Is it a flood? Or...
Yep, and that's this list over here that we make, and that's where you have to balance between nice tight little list, or suddenly we add 5 more weather categories into it. So that's something you'll be thinking about. No.
I'm in the keep it simple, stupid, mode here. So
yeah, you don't need tsunami in the middle of the country, but
yeah.
hopefully. But you do need fire.
Yeah. And, you know, and that, on the civil side, that comes back, you know, to where you and I were talking, Jim, where it's like, is it civil disturbance or is it an active shooter? That would be the place to have those.
Right.
Speaking of that, we got a request for an active shooter training yesterday, so we may talk to them about entering those guys in.
Yeah.
That's a good opportunity.
They want to do a conference call or a meeting on Monday, Steve.
Oh, Monday, okay, good.
So.
That's Bocor, just for reference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that gives you a flavor. I've recorded this whole thing, so I will post it up on YouTube so you can go back and take a look at it at any time. I wanted to get some video so that I can start cutting up some little training snippets of pieces so that you may see parts of these at some point in the future.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start in our sandbox. I'm going to start populating it with some generic employees. I guess the question is also is what I'd like to do on this, Jim, is if there was a way that on the employees, as we started adding the employees, to be able to assign a specific icon to the employees.
Instead of, yeah, right now the employee icons are colored by their organization.
Uh-huh.
That was
Can I select those?
Pardon me?
Can I select those?
Yes. Let's come up here. And where do we want to be? The admin tool. And they are only people icons. But you can select their color associated with the organization. And you'll put these organizations in. Right now, the only one that's there is the DIB ISAC. So you'll come into the admin tool, go to organization, add one, pick their color, and then you've got that little person with a color associated with that organization.
Okay. Now these fields here that are currently here, in the DIB ISAC, I've only got just the one field, correct?
Yes, right. So let me come over there.
Yeah.
All right, so we come up here, admin tool. You got DIB ISAC. You want to make it Huntsville Fire. And these are orange. Let's make the fire department guys red. Add them in. Now, when a person has their profile, they come into their profile and they've got their organization. So if I now want to change myself to Huntsville Fire Department, I can do that. I'm now Huntsville Fire Department.
So I just need to generate my folk companies up here.
Yep.
As an organization. Okay.
Yep.
Now, on these organizations, can we put any information above and beyond just an organization name to an organization? For example, if it is a company, can we add, you know, points of contact at the company, phone number, address, etc., like that yet?
You wouldn't do that there. You're going to have a company headquarters. It's going to be right here, or the company facility. And this is where we're building infrastructure that doesn't get shared anyplace. It's just seen on SpotOnResponse until something happens. So let's grab one of these, and I'm going to call this, what the heck, do we have anything in here? Clinic, we don't have a company here. I'll at least get one of those in there fairly soon. So I would say I'm going to call it business. There we go. So this is a business, and it's going to be Defense Solutions. Defense Solutions, Inc. And it's going to say things like, let's see, headquarters. 4500 Ricks Road. Then I could say employee. $250. Yeah, I'll just put that for now. So if you want contact names and things like that. And these are not going to come out pretty, but I'll show you how to make them pretty later on. So basically what I have here then is this checkbox down here. So I want to check that says it's not going to be shared to Exchange Core until there's a status change. So this is basically creating a infrastructure that sits inside of SpotOnResponse, and we can give this a really cute icon, and this will be, you know, one of your companies. So you'll have all your companies should come up here like this, and somewhere in here we would have a way to filter out just the DIB ISAC companies.
Okay.
If I look at them, there I've got the information that you had in there, and again, I can make this prettier. And down at the bottom right-hand side, it says, hey, this is staying here. It's not going to be shared. Now I'll take you to one more level. One more level. Let's say that this building is now going to be evacuated. Come up here to my little pencil menu. Click on my status modify. And what I have is status. This is now closed. It's got some special condition underway. It's reopened. All the different status for that particular building. If I pick one of those, it not only, I'll just pick this one, make this special condition and save it. First of all, it comes back and it writes special condition there. And then if I come back here, it's going to say, oh, you know what? This one's different. He's got some special condition going on. So everybody's aware of that. And this now sent something to Exchange Core that said, hey, everybody, these guys had this special condition that they just put in place. You ought to know about that. So it sort of becomes a way for, and this is what I do with those Sabres and Walmart, Walgreens, and all those folks. It sort of becomes a way to get an indicator of what's happening out there. So if you've got Huntsville and you've got 30 companies out there, and you start saying 10 of them have just closed, you got a problem there. Then now the next level a little further down is, okay, now we start to get the employee spot reports in that are going to give me more detail about things around there, because the employees just evacuated and they're standing in the parking lot and they're all shooting pictures of each other. You're going to get a sense of what's happening out there. So it's sort of tiers of information is what we're trying to build here.
Interesting. Now, on this, we on Exchange Corp, open to outside of our group of companies and whatnot. How open is what's going on with these companies is it going to be? Can we control that?
As open or as closed as you want it. You can have it so that there is nothing except exchanges among your companies and back to the watch center. You can add
because I'm sure that they're I'm
Okay.
sure there's companies that are not going to want it known that they're shut down or closed down for some specific reason or something. So
Yeah.
okay.
And my response to that is, oh, okay, you tell the television camera out front of your building that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This whole imagined security thing, I just love to debunk that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I tell you.
Yeah.
Is there, on that, just as we walk through that, eventually, is there a way that we could, build it up, so that, when we go to add, we're creating what, yes, we're creating, but when we create that business, that everything that's now associated with that business, or as we do a business, it all works together so we don't have to go all over the place to do it. We can keep it all kind of together, including updates.
Yes, let's go into the defense solutions here. And I'm going to do an update. I'm going to call it a plan. I'm going to call it emergency plan for headquarters. I'll correct my grammar there. I won't bother filling anything else out. Choose a file here. Let's come back to my SpotOnResponse demo content, emergency plan. Where am I here? Plans.
Yeah, there you go.
My hospital emergency checklist. Submit that. Oh, click. And I now have the emergency plan associated with that.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's what that building the infrastructure that doesn't get shared is, because that now gets set up, and that is their set of plans. We also have, it's not a standard part, but it wouldn't cost us anymore because we've already done it for California earthquake, for the Los Angeles County Clinic Association, where those plans are about the only thing that anybody really cares about, that they don't want to share. So we can check a thing in the database that plans can only be seen by people who are enrolled as members of your organization. So when they pick their organization when they pick their organization back here, they can only do it. And we also, as a result of that, because I can change organizations over here, so I theoretically could go look at somebody else's plans. If you decide to go that route, we can make it so that they cannot change the organization. That once they're an employee there, that's the only place they can be an employee without unenrolling and then re-enrolling.
Right. Okay.
So little bit of security there, and that's one that I tend to talk about because it's relatively easy to do, and we can say to people, gee, if you made a resource request, aren't you actually sharing that with people's information? And if you made an observation, our whole purpose is to share those. But yeah, I understand you want to maintain some security on your plan, so we can give you that.
Right.
So it's one way to talk them out of lots of security by saying this is one that you have.
Yeah. One question on the app for the phones. Where do I need to go to get the app? I mean, I can log into the the Watch Center, but on my tablet, I do not have an app installed.
Right.
You're an Android, Chad, right?
Yeah, I'm Android.
Yep,
So
right
you should
over
be
here
able
to
to
the
go to
Play
that.
Store.
Actually, in the Play Store, huh?
Yep.
I got mine through Apple.
Yep. It's on the App Store and the Play Store. Search SpotOnResponse. It's already installed. So it's there and completely available. When you install it, first thing you are asked for a username and password. So you have to have registered on the browser app. Or in your case, you will probably be registering people. Maybe not. You may give the project code to a company and say, here, register your 100 people.
Yeah.
But I know the Clinic Association, even though they have so far about 350 users or so, they decided they were just going to enter it, give the people the password, tell them to go onto the mobile app and use this username and password. So you can decide about that. I don't think it's necessary myself.
Okay, I got it installed here.
And you'll want to use your DIB ISAC username and password that we just set up.
And bingo, there's everything there.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Hey, what do you think of that? Sometimes it works.
All right. Well, I guess what I'm going to do then is I'm going to start kind of populating this. I'm sure, I'll come up with some questions and some stuff.
Sure.
So, and you'll have to forgive me, Jim. I like to understand, how things work underneath it, and sometimes I'm pretty dense. So you may have to hit me over the head a few times.
Not a problem. What I'd like you to do is make note of this. LICECAP. Go into Google, type that, and download this little app. Because what it allows you to do, if you're having problems with something, allows you to pop it up like this and say record. And I'm going to call it DIB ISAC. Problem. And when you save that, it's now going to record everything that you're doing here. So you can show me exactly what didn't happen. When you say stop, you've ended it, and I can come in here, and if I can remember where I saved that, I think it was in rats.
Anyway, yeah, I can.
Yeah, you can figure that out.
Push the video. Yeah, okay.
Cool. It then plays back that little video for me. So
is it MPEG?
No, actually, it's a GIF. So
really?
It's really very small, no voice with it or anything like that. But it just, especially if you've done something that seems to be broken, this is a great way to show us.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Where the heck was that?
Oh, cool. I think.
User guide and instructions. All right. Well, let me at least run that last thing. So it's not like I left you. DIB problem. There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
So it makes it's a great diagnostic tool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I think I am about to the point where I can be dangerous.
All right. Well, that's great.